So which is it? Varjo Aero, Pimax Crystal or Bigscreen Beyond? This is a complicated one. I'll do my best to traverse this subject the best I can. So let's start with the Varjo Aero, and I'll be quick about this, guys. Best things about the headset: it's premium VR at its finest. The build quality is superb. I've got well over 1,500 hours in my Varjo Aero now, and it's still going strong. It still looks great. It performs perfectly. I've had no issues with it at all. The active cooling technology is an absolute godsend. Whether it's a hot day or a cool day, it's just nice to have a brush of cold air on your face. It makes you feel refreshed. It makes you feel like flying for longer, quite honestly. It's very comfortable, incredibly light, very adjustable with the head strap at the top and at the sides. So it's very, very good. I just whacked myself, by the way, in the face with the Pimax Crystal, which I'm using today. In fact, that's just reminding me. Let me just take eye tracking off, because you might see some jankiness on the screen. There we go. Still getting 45 frames per second. So, nice. So yeah, they're the good points. Of course, the Varjo-based software is industry leading. It's the best software of all of them. You get great performance. The visuals, it was the first headset to use spheric lenses, and it's super sharp. You'll be blown away with it. It's just an all-round superb premium VR headset. But it's not all good news. The field of view of the Aero is very much quite unusual, actually, because it's not bad horizontally. It's probably just about the same as a Crystal, maybe slightly less. But vertically, you do lose a lot. And if you're dogfighting, that's pretty essential, actually. Imagine like a letterbox. That's kind of what it looks like in terms of the field of view. It is a deal breaker for quite a few people. There's also a slight warping on the far outer edges of the Aero. This is something I don't mention much, simply because I use it all the time, but since I've been using the Bigscreen Beyond as my daily driver for about 2 weeks now, and I've got a video of that to come, when I went back to the Aero, I did notice the warping until my brain kind of adjusted to it. So it's something that's not a deal breaker, but it is, you know, again, something to consider. You will get used to it over time. And of course the colours, well, it doesn't have a QLED panel, it hasn't got local dimming. So the colours are beautiful in the Aero, and in many ways they're more natural looking than, say, the Crystal. But, you know, in terms of OLED panels and QLED panels, it does seem a little bit washed out, especially at night time. So, Pimax Crystal. Let's be honest here. The Pimax Crystal has the absolute best visuals in VR I've ever seen in a consumer grade headset, okay? And if that's all that's important to you, and quite honestly, that is a very important factor for me in VR, is visual fidelity, then it is the Crystal, without question. You know, in fact, I'm flying in it right now, and in a sunset sort of scene like this, in fact, actually it's sunrise at the moment, the colours are absolutely incredible, so close to OLED. In fact, in a scene like this, it looks the same as OLED. It's only when it gets pure black that you notice a bit of blooming from the local dimming, but it's still very, very impressive. And it just feels altogether a bit sharper than the Aero. The field of view is so much better, particularly the vertical field of view is brilliant in this thing, and it's quite a shocker when you go back to the Aero. It does feel like looking through a letterbox in comparison. I'd also say the DMAS solution, that's the audio of the Pimax Crystal, the floating ear design, is a fantastic solution, and it sounds great. And I love integrated off-ear audio. It's not as comfortable though as the Aero, because it's quite heavy. In fact, it's about 1.2 kg. Now, for someone like me who's a scruffy biker, it does not bother me at all, especially for seated experiences when I'm sat down chilling in my motion rig like today. It's just not an issue. It really isn't, and I can be in this thing for 2 hours, no problems at all. But having said that, compared to the Aero, this is definitely not as comfortable. Also, for a bad point, I guess we'd mention the battery. It does need a battery even when running PC VR. Now, I must say, with the Pimax Hub, you know, you can get 4 hours or more out of it, so that's pretty decent, and then you can charge it up when you're away from it. So they have improved that. So that is really good, and kudos to the Pimax engineering team for really sorting that out. Although it's still a pain, you know, at the end of the day, it still needs a battery, and it's, in my opinion, the Pimax Crystal's Achilles heel. It's the thing I don't like about it the most. Overall, I will say as well that... Oh, go away. I'm not interested in you today. I will say, and this is something else I haven't said before, I don't think, I am more, for lack of a better word, more immersed in the Pimax Crystal. It's my altitude alert thing, isn't it? That's what's going on here. Right, it will shut up now. So yeah, I am definitely more immersed in the Pimax Crystal, and that is simply because of the field of view, the fact that the headset sits on me like a helmet. Oh, that sounds crazy, but it does make me feel like I'm wearing a helmet. And the audio, as I say, together, that combination, together with the visuals, makes it a very immersive experience. So let's now move on to Bigscreen Beyond. That is, in my opinion, a glimpse, or more than a glimpse, into the future of VR. It's a very exciting device, and of all the headsets I've ever had, it's the most desirable. It just looks fantastic. It looks like it's from the future, and it's where VR should be going. So in many ways, it's the next generation of VR headsets, simply because it focuses on two main factors: high-end PC VR visuals and comfort. I'm not going to go into the whole thing about, you know, it's molded to your face and all that kind of stuff. I've said it so many times now, but at the end of the day, the Bigscreen Beyond is, without question, the most comfortable headset I've ever worn now. Especially now you've got a top strap as well. I've worn that so far for 4 hours straight on a fairly cool day, because I must admit, it does get quite hot in that thing. That's the only thing about that molded facial interface. But yeah, 4 hours, no problems at all. It just felt fantastic, and in fact, after about 15-20 minutes, it kind of, you forget you're wearing a VR headset, and I've never had that experience before, and it's very exciting. It makes you feel very free in VR. So if that's really important to you, if comfort is the number one factor for you, the Bigscreen Beyond is definitely for you, I'd say. As well as the micro OLED technology. You know, QLED's fantastic, and it's incredibly close to OLED. But if I do this now, okay, this is where the Pimax Crystal, well, it looks actually amazing, quite honestly. That does look really good. I do forget how good that does look, actually. With a local dimming, that is pretty damn black. You know, that really is good. But if I do this and go to the outside, I do see a bit of blooming. It's not a huge deal, but it is a bit of annoyance. In fact, I would recommend that you stick your local dimming on balanced, because it does cut out the blooming a bit. But with the Bigscreen Beyond, flying at night is just... it's almost like a spiritual experience. I'm telling you, folks, it really is amazing. Because I've always wanted an OLED high-resolution VR headset. In fact, I think we all have. And the Bigscreen Beyond absolutely excels on that. That is the high resolution, the OLED screen, and the comfort. However, things are not as simple as that, because unfortunately the Bigscreen Beyond does suffer from glare due to its stacked lens design and its high magnitude as well, to give you that great field of view with that tiny micro OLED display. There is glare, and coming from spherical lenses, if you have, like me, it does completely spoil you, because the spherical lenses they have zero God rays and zero glare. That's both the Aero and Crystal, so that's something to consider as well. Okay, so when it's all said and done, which VR headset is right for you? And damn it, we don't have the perfect VR headset yet. I wish we had all of those things wrapped up in a perfect VR headset, but at the moment, that's not a thing. I do know that Valve have got an announcement coming soon, And the Quest 3 is around the corner, but that's going to be for a different segment. That's going to be for the mid-range PC VR and standalone crowd, which I will be showing that, by the way. I'm going to buy a Quest 3 as soon as I get my grubby hands on it, or can rather, because I'm really looking forward to that headset. So to sum this up, if you appreciate a VR headset that has premium build quality, it's built to last, it's got a good track record, it's got good branding, it's used for the military, you know, it has the DNA behind it, great comfort, amazing visuals, it's gonna never give you any trouble at all, then it's the Varjo Aero. And even though it needs base stations, because it's now a bit cheap, it's about £860, you can, all you need really is one base station and you're still below a Pimax Crystal. So the whole debate on the fact that the Aero is expensive is just not a thing anymore, because they have literally slashed it to half the price, which is just insane. But let's say field of view and image quality is the most important factor for you. You're the type of simmer, let's say, that doesn't want to sacrifice image quality for anything, and you want great field of view, the best visuals you can get in VR today without question, and you're not bothered so much about the fact you've got to you know, charge the battery every now and then. It is the Crystal. It is a phenomenal headset. It really is. This display is absolutely stunning, and there isn't anything out there that beats it. Simple as that. It's gorgeous. However, as I say with the Crystal, you do have that battery. The build quality actually isn't too bad, but it's not up there with the best, of course. But it isn't too bad. Mine has been very reliable, actually. I've had it for quite a while now. It's probably done, goodness knows how many hours, actually. 300 or 400 probably by now. And yeah, it's still performing really well. So that's not to say it's unreliable. It's just that it's probably not quite as premium as the Aero. Bear in mind, though, that the Crystal doesn't need base stations, but it actually is more expensive than the Aero now. Things are changing so much in the VR landscape. I love it. It is literally the high-end PC VR war right now. The battle is on. But, as I say, it's not the most comfortable headset out there, especially for many people. For me, I don't have a problem with it, but I know, you know, it depends on your face shape, your neck muscles, perhaps. All those things are into consideration, and it's a very personal thing for you. For those out there that want the absolute best comfort there is in VR, and the most amazing colours as well, the micro OLED means you get pure blacks, if that's important to you. I also think the Beyond is bright enough, even though it is not quite as bright as the Aero and Crystal. It's still very, very good. One thing I did forget to mention, and that's the Varjo Aero and Pimax Crystal both use eye tracking, okay? That's really important. I totally forgot about that. Which means you can use dynamic foveated rendering. In DCS, that's a huge jump in performance, and even in MSFS, it means I can get 45 frames per second everywhere, rather than, say, about 6-7 frames down from that. However, I do think the Bigscreen Beyond fights back here because it has pancake lenses, and even though it only uses Steam VR, the OpenXR toolkit still works, and it doesn't have to account for barrel distortion so much, so the resolution doesn't have to be so high. And by the way, if you super sample the Beyond, it looks as good as a Crystal. It really does, apart from you still get that glare. So really, this is a hard video to make, to be honest. It's very complicated. I don't know if that's made you even more confused or not, but that's basically my take on it without making the video 2 hours long. I'm going to continue flying over the Welsh countryside here and into Snowdonia National Park. I do have affiliate links for all of the headsets I've mentioned in this video, and I think I have a little discount code for the Crystal. So if you would like to use that, it would really truly support the channel, because I have realised recently that making YouTube videos as often as I do, with a full-time job might I add, is bloody hard work. Anyway, take care, thanks for watching, I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.